a student just comes to you and says they want to start investing, what's the first thing you would tell them to do?
I wouldn't tell them to do anything. I'd ask them what the time frame for the investment is. If they're investing for a period of time 2 years away, then certain investments are appropriate. If it's 40 years in the future, 50 years in the future, then other investments are appropriate. For stocks, you really need 5 to 10 years or more. So, but without being patronizing, students are so young, at least compared to me, that many of their goals are far away. Or you may not know what your goals are, but you may know that it's for a lot later on.
Okay, that's fair. And like you were sort of touching on, students, you know, they're young, but as far as being interested in getting invested or investing, you don't have a lot of money. Students, you're not really going to have a lot of time to actually monitor it yourself, and you certainly don't have a lot of expertise. And in this type of economy, what would be your advice to eager students? Would you tell them to hold off, or if students that do have stocks, would you tell them, you know?
Well, first of all, this is a great time for a young person to invest. I mean, if you're 20 or 22 years old, what do you care what the economy is now? Actually, you'd like it to be terrible because you can buy things cheaper. The key thing is, what is it going to be like when you're ready to sell later on? So this is a great time for students to be buying stocks. If a student wants to put some time into it, then they can pick some individual stocks themselves. It's not all that hard. They can take my course and learn how to do that. But if they don't, they can use a mutual fund that invests in a cross-section of stocks. And there are both what's called open-end mutual funds and exchange-traded funds. With exchange-traded funds, you can invest in a large number of stocks without much money at all, with, say, a couple $100. So that's a good way to get started. And students have something that I don't have anymore, which is time. So if you start investing and you have a 50-year time frame, longer, because you figure many students are going to live to be 100. If students start now and buy stocks, it will be hard for them to avoid being wealthy later on, as long as they keep on buying. And there are great deals out there today. Great deals. And, you know, it's not even that hard to find them.
I actually have a question along that line.
Okay.
Because aside from you, I've heard from multiple people, like financial advisors and whatnot, that yeah, this is a great time to buy. You know, stocks are low, everything like that. And I was actually reading the Wall Street Journal yesterday, and there was an article in there saying maybe buying during a recession isn't so great, or not as great as people make it seem to be.
For whom?
That's true.
The problem with the press, is that they write an article and they have a target audience in mind, and they never tell you who the target audience is. If you say to a financial advisor, okay, we're talking to a bunch of 22-year-olds, should we tell them to start buying stocks now and keep buying them? 99 out of 100 are going to say yes, and the other 100 won't, because he or she's a moron. So there's one in every group usually. So you have to ask, who is the audience for that kind of article? It's not you.
And like, just last question, in terms of actually investing, is there a big difference for you, especially for our generation, focusing on international versus domestic investing? That seems to be just a more push topic as we go forward.
Well, there are far more international options than there ever were, and certainly over the long run, everybody should have some international stocks in their portfolio, but I would start out with large company U.S. stocks, multinational firms. I mean, think of Walmart, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, Coca-Cola, Clorox, Automatic Data Processing, Medtronic. I mean, these companies, Altria, they're all over the world. So when you invest in them, you're investing all over the world. There are other there's companies overseas as well, but I would start with the large company dividend-paying, dividend-increasing U.S. stocks. Microsoft, Intel, I have my little list here. Exxon, Abbott Labs, huge, huge companies. No matter what happens to the economy, those companies are going to be there, making tons of money. So you want to participate in their business. Maybe later on, if you learn a little more and you decide, well, okay, I'm going to go looking for something more aggressive than that. But you really don't have to.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much.